Yo. 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 I just used that to sync up the cameras at a base level. Alright. Give me one moment. I'm gonna get the GoPro set up. Honestly, it's pretty much already set up. Make sure that this see a flash? Yeah, that this is like I put these little silicone seal things on the areas that water could get in the battery, so I always have to prep it before I put the GoPro out. It has a door that allows for pass through so that I can have this external battery so that it lasts longer. Alright, I'll be back. I'll be right back. Enjoy the trees chirping.
That was instantaneous. Again, there seemed to be an occurrence of lightning instances when I'm talking, when I am doing this kneel, like lunge kneel type thing, where when I put my foot down and when I dig in, press really hard. Was there lightning there? When I am trying to plant, I guess, my right leg and engage the pinky and right heel, and like whatever this, there's like a series of, like a chain of muscles that this is engaging. And like as I dig in, there have been a considerable amount of good lightnings when I do that specific thing, and you can usually tell. So just recapping that. Honestly, I'm starting to have so many of these videos, like naming them after times is not gonna be, I think I'm gonna start calling these like lightning experiments. Maybe this will be it. Okay, this is gonna be lightning experiments #1. It's what I'm gonna call it. I don't know if it's actually #1, or maybe I'll just name it whatever it is, and I'll go back and retroactively. But if I don't do that, this is #1. So to recap, I am testing whether something I've observed when I was watching a lightning storm, whether the lightning seems to be associated with me exerting through the right side of my body, as I have some issue with the right side of my body. I feel like maybe a lot of people, it looks like, have with the left side of theirs, but I can't tell because I'm not other people. But my left side is fine. My right side is seems to have the same issue, maybe that Jacob or Israel has after he gets struck on the thigh or touched on the thigh by the guy in Genesis 32. And it's physically super uncomfortable, and I think it affects the whole right side of my body. And when I'm doing stuff like this, like I'm engaging the muscles and stuff, yeah, but I'm trying to like dig in when I do this kind of thing. I'm digging in and like engaging, like it even feels like I'm tearing, like I said numerous times, or like ripping open or something, this, like the connective tissue around the knee or something and like opening it up. And I said, this seems to be, because this is me like getting in and I'm able to drive through, but I said in previous videos it feels like some kind of circuit. It may be some kind of, modern science isn't advanced enough to engage like what we're doing. I've said this, but I also have said that it could be associated with spiritual things, which I think it is. Like, I think Yahweh just has control over the lightning, and he does with it as he pleases, but that he gives me an opportunity to cooperate with him. And the other reason why I would think that I might be associated with the lightning is that Revelation talks about 7 churches, the 7 stars of which sit in the right hand of Jesus. Then he sits on the throne with Yahweh, who has a 7 sealed scroll in his right hand. And that just as Jesus conquers with the scroll in the right hand of he who is and was and will be Yahweh, that the 7 churches, the story to the 7 churches is talking about, basically giving an opportunity for anybody who wants to participate, I think, to try to accomplish the goals, or the like if-then conditional statements, like set forth to the churches, like it's 7 in a row, and if you do all 7 of them in a row, you get the gifts associated with those things. And that pretty much no Christian that I know of reads, like, most Christians, or a lot of Christians, don't seem to read Revelation really like it's real or a thing or at all. And then like a subset of those reads it as like it's like just churches or something. It's like church ages or some other thing. They write it off some other way. And I think it's an active thing. It's basically like the last thing left for Christians. It's like, okay, here's these set of challenges. If you do it, you get these prizes. And first of all, being that I'm the only one that seems to engage it like that, I think I'm like the most obvious candidate, and the only one who I hear on YouTube or anywhere else talking about it like this. But once someone does engage it other than me like that, it seems to turn into it's like, okay, well, that only empowers me, but because it makes what I'm saying more real and obvious. I think one of the reasons people are continuing to pretend like this isn't happening is because most of Christianity just doesn't actually engage with what the Bible says in Revelation, it seems. Or like, I don't know, it's hard to break down, so I can understand if people don't actually get it, but once you have someone saying it and it's that obvious, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, yeah. Which is one of the reasons why I think I would be on that throne of Yahweh, as the 7th church seems to indicate. But my whole point with that is, hypothetically, if I am that guy who does the conquering at the 7 churches just as Jesus does the conquering at, or a guy who does it, just as Jesus does it at the scroll in the right hand of he who is, was, and will be, then, being just a guy, you still get to be on the throne of Yahweh and probably have the authority associated with that. It makes a lot of sense that you would. Some of this feels, though, just like me showing there is very clearly a reality that's like modern science can tell you observations, right? But it hasn't, it like, we're not at the point where science knows everything, right? Yahweh has the most advanced science, right? Because the word science is the word knowledge, essentially. I mean, that's where it comes from. And Yahweh knows, right? So, it's not that he necessarily has to have some kind of advanced technology, like the anime Spriggan is like, yes, the people who wrote the Bible were actually like some kind of advanced civilization. It's like, well, I don't think like it's displayed in that, but I do think Yahweh has like advanced knowledge, what we would consider advanced knowledge, because it's just above and beyond whatever. And if he gave me a little bit of that, just me being wise and saying, okay, Yahweh, like what, I truly believe like you have that knowledge. How can I learn it? Can I learn it? Would you let me? Okay. And now like, what do I need to do? Like how, I'm like, I've just gotten in, but this seems to be a way that I can show, because lightning is instant, right? You literally see the light instantaneously, and it should be something that I can use to show, like, I think there's stuff that people are just completely missing, and that, like, there's worlds unimaginable, essentially, but they haven't been imagined yet. I mean, like, I think the whole kingdom of heaven thing in the Bible is talking about a singularity that happens. And we go to a place where people don't die, we don't have resource problems. We basically, I mean, it's utopia, right? It just predates this concept of utopia. Definitely getting into it too. But that, you know, despite all the chaos and like, where is all this headed? It's like, well, I think this singularity is where it's all headed, actually. But that, like, you know, we do live in like this chaos where all this stuff is going on that seems kind of seems very random, right? And I think being that I believe I'm headed towards that singularity. If you're a Christian, you are too, right? That's the point. And technically everybody's headed towards it. It's just, there's a divergent pathway. You're either going to the kingdom of heaven or you're going to the place that's not as pleasant. The lake, the burning lake. You don't want to go there. It's literally where hell's thrown into. It's where, like, it's just not fun, assuredly. So, like whenever people are like, yeah, hell yeah, rock on, and I'm just like, okay, I like good music, whatever. But some of this stuff is just like, when I was growing up, I never understood that, because I was like, wait, you're describing this party place sounds like heaven to me. Did you just get taught wrong or something? Like, that must be it. hell doesn't sound pleasant, but then, you know, the place hell is literally emptied into. Yeah, that sounds worse. So, That's my right leg and like something, I think some fascia or something. But when I'm connecting that circuit on the right leg, there's a lot of times when I feel like I connect that circuit and you see the lightning. And so we're working on that. That's why lightning experiments, and it's the lightning lab. Suppose this means this is where the energy is. I live in a city known for that. Like, it felt like that one was like, I got deep into something and I was like, I gotta pull out. And then you saw it. Like, okay, so I was talking about we're headed towards the singularity earlier. But it's just what it feels like. I mean, it's not just what it feels like. It's, to me, it's clearly what it feels like. But it's literally what the book is about. That's how it ends. I think that was the whole point of it. Or a huge portion. Where is this all going? It's just described in really symbolic language because it's important to the people groups that it came from, and I think it's actually important to people these days who are just a lot of, not weird, but a lot of people are just like, they don't want to, they wouldn't want to admit it, but it is. Feels really nice.
Let's check. Model real fast. Alright, I'll trust what it's saying. Basically, it seems to be suggesting
Yeah, flashlight. My right leg again, but not but also similar kind of fashion thing. Oh, maybe I should talk more. Yeah, probably. Humor. Alright. Well, so that's what I mean by there seems to be like it. I mean, okay, one video I can see as it's like random coincidence, random chance, right? You know, this is why I'm doing this, because there's like, at a certain point, it seems like I'm interacting with something or someone that controls this stuff. And, my belief is that it's Yahweh. Being that I don't really see anybody else doing anything like this, that would probably suggest that Yahweh is real, as well as actually in control of the universe, everything. And it's not that people have free will, because that was something he created on purpose, but that people are using it in shitty ways, causing problems for other people. I think the whole point of the kingdom of heaven is like, that's not how things operate. And it's better for everybody, even the people who otherwise would have, been causing problems for themselves and other people, I guess. Seems reasonable. Like, I feel like one of the things is, like, we just do things now in society is like, well, because that's how we've done things. And I'm like, well, this isn't even how it was done in the book that we're supposedly getting this stuff from, right? Like, these traditions from. So I'll sit here for a little while longer. I actually liked that the earlier video was only an hour long, so I was able to, it's like probably almost done rendering or exporting, but so on one hand, I like the shorter videos, a lot easier to manage and edit and, put together and stuff. On the other hand, a lot of the time, like, being patient and just, like, waiting and, like, okay, I think Yahweh will pay off. Like, there will be something worthwhile, like, staying, watching, participating, interacting, because I think Yahweh will make it that way. Like, if I'm patient enough and I have enough faith, anything is possible, literally. And, so for that reason, and the model seems to think there's going to be more, though it hasn't been very accurate today, so I'm sure we're getting towards the point where AI will just, hey, here's a better weather model. We're able to take in all this data and, like, make you something better, humans. So here you go. Good job. Get on out there and learn. So, I don't think we're that far away from that. All this, like, AI doomsday stuff is kind of, I think it's more like a tool, That's just how it's used. And I say a tool, but, like, in the Matrix or Terminator or whatever, the AI is, like, not friendly, it just turns evil, and it's like, okay, well, it could do that. If you don't believe in something smarter than AI anyway, then you're probably toast, right? So, don't be worried. That's what I'm getting at. I'm not saying be stupid, but don't be worried. Don't be fearful. Maybe that's a better. think another thing that was strange was that the storm that came over earlier and dumped like a lot of rain. I didn't really record it because, I mean, one of the whole things is I looked and I was like, there's not a lot of light, like I don't see any lightning and I don't hear any thunder and it's just heavy rain and I don't want to get a bunch of rain in here, and so I'm just, there's no reason to record if that's the case. Like, I just have too much content to go over anyway, so. And then I looked over the lightning map. There wasn't any lightning in the area, though it's not always perfect. And I looked at the channel 13 mega Doppler, which includes lightning strikes, and I didn't see any lightning strikes in the area. They stopped the dynamo game, which means and said that it meant there was a lightning strike within 8 miles, but I think that was towards the east, so that's like even further from us. So I wasn't really sure what was going on with that, but part of my thought was like, okay, well, the chaotic part, like the early part of the storm, which is usually most chaotic, is or I say is usually most chaotic because of all the rain and wind and whatever the initial like kind of blast is. But usually afterwards there's like a time when you can hang out and or chill with the storm, and it's like hanging out with you, and this is when I usually do lightning stuff. Or that's when I usually do lightning stuff. But I figured, okay, let me like record this portion, so I did, and lightning literally just kicked up north of us, which was the same like storm cell that just moved north of us, and all of a sudden lightning kicked up in it. I'm resting in my left foot, but I'm like digging in with my right foot, trying to engage the muscle in the right way. Kind of like what I was saying with while I was out over in the street talking to the camera, was if I could explain how much the thing going on with my right leg hurts and how uncomfortable it is. I was like more affected, I realized, by it than when I got hit by the car. When I got hit by a car, or the car, whatever, I did, like, it looks like I did more to the car than the car did to me, but it still was not comfortable. I mean, I, like, pulled glass out of my forehead in the video. But, there's a cat that just appeared in the driveway. But, okay. I think the throne of Yahweh includes the animal kingdom as well, so I'm just throwing that out there. I like cat stuff. But it, basically I was more impressed that this thing that I'm constantly dealing with and have been for a long time, it's like, it is painful. Like, it is very painful to the degree that, like, doing this kind of stuff is, it feels like comforting to a degree. I mean, like, it's not exactly comfortable, but it feels like I'm doing the things that are necessary to, like, fix the problems, which makes, I get some kind of, like, good response from it, from my body. And, as I'm doing this, it feels like whatever the things that attach here, it's like I'm pulling it this way, and it's like they just feel super tight there, super, like, not as strong as on the other side. Like, on the other side, I don't even feel it at all. On this side, it's like not comfortable. Once I start going, like, this far, I mean, it's like physically, it's very painful. Or it's quite painful. I mean, I don't know. My whole point was, like, when I got hit by a car, I mean, I seemed to just kind of, like, shrug it off. But, like, this, or, like, certain other things, not so much. A lot of the times those other things seem to be kind of related to the right side or whatever, too, though. But, like, even my right arm feels it. Like, you can look at me in the face, and, like, my right eye doesn't seem to be as open as my left eye. And, in like most pictures from most angles, at least. And, like, I actually think that, despite the common ideology being like, okay, well, we're not supposed to be symmetrical, it's like, I don't think we're supposed to be non-symmetrical. Like, I think we are supposed to be kind of, like, evened out, and, like, some of that maybe is some kind of imbalance in people or in something. But in any instance, this just hurts a lot. But as I'm doing this, it's like, it feels like I'm tearing it open or ripping something open, like, opening something up in my leg. But it's like, my point with this is that it's painful enough that a lot of the times when I get into it really deep during these storms, that's when you see the crazy lightning stuff. And I'm like, it's like getting into, it's like the really painful stuff seems to be, when you're seeing, like, lightning. The lightning response, right? Not always, but it definitely seems to happen like with greater frequency than if it has no effect at all, right? So, I'm getting at that it's so painful that it's literally drawing like a lightning response from it. It's how like energetically painful it is, which is, I mean, that's what it seems like, right? Like, or that's how intense it is. It's that you see, like, how often do you see me like get into something and immediately lightning? Particularly something relating to my right side. Alright, we're almost at an hour. I would say, well, like, I'll stop the video here and, like, if it picks back up, do it. But, like, it always feels like it's, like, outside of the time that you would normally think that some kind of crazy, like, that's when, like, some of the craziest instances of lightning seem to occur. So I just, you know, I'll deal with it being a long video. I can remember that at a certain point there's just less lightning. Oh. I don't know if you could hear that. It's like a sound that my knee just made. It was unpleasant. Like, it's supposed to pick back up. Just looking at that model.
So, I mean,
I think the 4 a.m. time, it would be like more intense than it thought the 2 a.m. stuff was gonna be. So I guess I could use this as an opportunity to go check on the GoPro. Make sure it's using the external battery, or if it didn't, if it had some kind of problem, I can get another battery put inside and start it back up or something.
alright, that's what I'm gonna do.
honestly, it was really disappointing. The internal battery was half used, and it said it had overheated, which GoPro 10, GoPro 11 thermals are just not good, man. I really need to focus on that with the next one. But anyway, I'm not sure if it used the external battery. I'm not sure if it, like how long it was on. This new battery is at 100%. It had the lightning bolt on when I hit go, when I hit record, right? And if you want the external, if you want it to use the external, it has to, I guess it's with this particular external, and I don't know, it might be with the GoPro, but it has to, like, if you plug in the external and you don't hit record for, like, immediately, the lightning bolt goes away. Or not immediately, but within a few seconds. So, like, I don't know, I think overheating is a different issue than, I don't know why the internal battery is at 51%. That could have meant that it was using the internal battery during that period, and that, like, all of that, like, I don't know, 50% of that battery is not that much time, so I don't know how much the lightning it would have caught, is what I'm trying to say. And this is not the first day during this period where the GoPro has overheated. And I can't, like, I figured for time lapses during the day, I can use it. I just bought like a cheap fan, desk fan, and it just blows air over it, which is kind of the problem. That it doesn't have active cooling. So just literally a cheap desk hand fan put behind it. It will like extend it for a considerable period, like the whole time if it's on external. But it's just frustrating having to deal with. Whatever. Whatever. It worked out how Yahweh wanted it to work out. Or, it's not, it can't be that big of a deal. Not it can't. I just don't think it's that big of a deal. If Yahweh didn't want to tag one, it didn't. One thing is, the model seems to think there's something, and part of me being patient is just like, alright, give it time, and like you'll know, or you might have a decent idea. You can gather some more, information and then choose later. But I like with how the model is showing it, I don't particularly see how there wouldn't be some kind of activity. I mean, it's not impossible for sure, but that you know, I don't think the model's that accurate, and that it's probably not going to rain at 4. And so, like, I haven't seen any lightning in a bit too, so I'm just thinking that it's probably not gonna be going on at 4. And that's the idea of waiting here, is that, okay, I think, you know, there could be something, be patient, you know, at the tail end. In fact, like, one of the most spectacular ones, some of the most spectacular ones that I've seen have been at the very end of the video. But I think I might end this here. And just call it a night and pick back up tomorrow, because I think there's rain tomorrow. Like, I mean, it's been constant, which is I mean, it's good for making these videos, but it's just, I'm just so behind on the time stamping. I'm just like looking at this one and that thing, I'm just like, oh, I literally have in my YouTube like upload thing, there's like 12 videos total of, like, you know, different views and stuff that I have to go through, and or like that I want to go through and compile all the information for, and then, you know, make a compilation. But it's just, there's been so many recently, it's like I can't keep up. I need an AI to do this for me. Anyway, soon. Okay, like, actually, I think that'll be pretty soon. I think we're not far from competent, like, easily, like, I just task the AI, like, give it the computer's processing power and whatever. I don't know if that's enough or anything, but, you know, it'd be like, hey, whenever I make these, tally up all the, you know, give me some critical information on this, and you can figure out what critical information is by me, by watching back, by, like, looking at the transcripts of these videos. I think YouTube already makes transcripts, and, like, telling me, you know, figuring out what I think is pertinent information, because I convey it, you know, if you watch these videos. The reason why I have, like, this view and this view is because you can see me and you can hear me. This is the mic input, right? And I think that we're not far from the point where an AI would do that. And particularly, you know, I think the lightning stuff is something that ain't nobody else shown, like, AI lightning. like, hey, let me try to make lightning, right? Or, you know, generate instances of lightning, or I don't exactly know what I'm doing, but we're in the lightning lab, and we're doing it. And so, you know, I'd be like, every time I do this, like, count the number of instances of, like, lightning that seem to be connected with this specific, like, posture, essentially. Like, the different variations, like, you see me doing this or whatever, if there seem to be increased instances, like, what, you know, looking at this, does there seem to be a pattern of me doing something and then there's lightning? Because I think so. I think there's enough instances where there's, like, gaps in between the lightning happening too, where it happens on, you know, at a point where I'm like, exerting through the right side or whatever, or I say something, or again, I think it's cooperating, but Yahweh has all the control of the lightning and stuff, so. I might just leave the GoPro on for a while, it'll just stay on, and then go get it once I've kind of finished some other stuff. And, you know, if the lightning picks back up, I can always then come back and, like, oh, hey, it's lightning again. But I just don't. At nighttime, you can usually see, when there's, like, big flashes of lightning, you can usually see. I don't see anything, right? During the day, it's more difficult to tell if there's, like, a thunderstorm, you know, at least from this area. It's because we got a lot of trees and, you know, obstructed view. So, am I ending this here? I guess so, huh? So, I'm ending this here. I just have a feeling I'm gonna get back, like, I'm gonna end this, I'm gonna upload it, I'm gonna get back on Instagram and just get tilted again, and, like, lightning's gonna pop up like that or something, you know. So, I guess that's why I'm leaving the GoPro on. Anyway, okay. I'm gonna organize the pictures that I've gotten from today's Instagram escapade, like, you know, lens viewing. I look at, like, Instagram as, like, this is like, I see enough of a pattern in things that, like, within reason shouldn't be connected. Like, from hundreds of people. I mean, I can see how they would be connected, which is another part, but that, like, you know, when I put all this stuff together and it seems to make, like, one continuous story that really, like, kind of makes sense. It's just a lot to deal with. It's like, I feel like clearly seeing patterns. I don't think it's like just, hey, this is like schizo patterns or something. I feel like it's like, hey, I mean, to the point where it's like I'm clearly seeing. Again, you can ask an AI. The AI, I believe, would tell you, like, yeah, it looks like there are quite a few instances where he's where he's does something and then there's lightning, or he does something it looks like he's trying to draw lightning and then there's lightning, or it's related to the right side and he's doing one of the things. There's exactly this many instances, that kind of thing. So and the stuff like, I think it's more intangible when it's like the storm where it was intense rain over us. There was no during the times I was watching, no lightning, no thunder, just rain. And part of the reason I didn't go to the window was just like, well, I didn't see any lightning. There is no lightning. But like I said, when it got to the less chaotic, like just kind of the rain chilled out a bit, I was thinking like, oh, is it my intention? I mean, part of this would be, I think, just connected to like, well, am I trying to see lightning in that system? So I was like, it seems like a intense enough system, and that it would still be in the area somewhat. So that's why I come to the window and do it the way that I do, where I like eventually go out there. But the intangible part is that's when lightning kicked up in that same cell that then moved that way, or lightning started. I mean, it seemed like it was in the thing that was just above our head over here, but maybe it was a different system of storms and they weren't doing it earlier and then they started right then. Something, I don't know, whatever. But it definitely seemed like the thing that I said originally, where it was like the system that was above us that wasn't doing lightning when I wasn't trying for it, started to when I started attempting. And there was another lightning storm where the lightning storm was way off that way, and I was like, well, let's see if we can get some lightning from it. And there was, so like all of a sudden it got really energetic and you saw lightning starting to go through the clouds and stuff. But maybe if I've described it, like the AI can come up with situations like that where it's like, okay, I get what he's saying. I can make these scenarios, like these things too, I can find these patterns. And part of the issue was like the camera wasn't on then, but I guess if you gave an AI access to the stuff that the internet is like, I could find video of what's going on in Houston. It could find, so even retroactively, you could probably find the footage of these uptown, downtown and uptown Houston skylines, and whatever, public kind of video stuff there is, and then public weather data and lightning strike data, and it could even now when I don't think we're collecting all the information that it would need, it's like you can collect enough to show it like, yes, there's some kind of connection here, or there's some kind of pattern. Okay, I'm ending this here. Hope you enjoyed, and probably make another one tomorrow, so God bless one. Later. Yeah.